The Institute of Internal Auditors presents All Things Internal Audit Tech. In this episode, Antonio Cacciapuoti and Alessandro Casarotti join Ricky Martinez to discuss the impact of AI in financial crime. They explore how AI is being used by criminals, the challenges it presents, and how internal auditors can leverage AI to enhance their controls and detection mechanisms.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Ricardo, for the invitation on this podcast.
Thank you both. How are criminals currently using AI for financial crimes?
If we think about pure AI, so where AI really is having currently an impact, AI is an impact on financial crime when it goes to mainly misinformation. Misinformation may lead to many different crimes. I think we have most of us already read on the newspaper the presidential fraud, how it evolved now lately with AI, where basically the fraudster is impersonating the CFO, for instance, and calling for video calls where he's actually sitting with the team and be able to make an happen transaction of 2 million or more through that, because with the possibility of AI to impersonate someone and having the voice, the ability to speak, that may come very easy. So unfortunately, misinformation is something that goes towards AI, but misinformation may impact, for instance, also market manipulation. Typical stock exchange listed company, if you spread out misinformation through bots, AI, that can have a huge impact on the pricing, or also lead fraudster maybe to make the right investment to launder the money and have the right profit from the movement of the stock market. So that's some different aspect that needs to be considered, and AI is just at the beginning, both in how criminals are using it, because are always at the front, and also how controls are actually being implemented out of that.
Okay. Oh, thank you. And if I surmise correctly, then you're saying that there are new ways of, for example, when you talk about market manipulation, like spoofing. Am I on that line? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So I think we are just now exploring all the potentiality. Unfortunately, we are now understanding all the potentiality of AI, and we are just at the beginning. So I think the big problem is that you need to think like criminals to catch criminals, because the criminals are always a step ahead. And that's also one of our motto that we have. And on that sense, I think Antonio also has to say, right?
Yeah. No, I want just to add something that we need to clarify that AI, it's not a new type of cyber attack, but it's an evolution of it. And the evolution is reflected in the fact that the AI system facilitates the work of criminals and make their attack more complex to detect. So this is good to clarify.
Okay. I appreciate both of these perspectives, right? Because we have right now talked about the risk part of the equation. Now, where we would like to kind of dig a little bit more is in the control side of the equation. So I guess my question to you is, how do an AI-based control improve the detection of financial crimes?
Okay, there, as I said, we are also at the early stage. We recently ran a survey with 400 selected clients throughout the Europe, Middle East, and Africa practices of PwC. And through that, of course, we touch how was the AML market and how AML controls were going towards, and we touch also how AI was implemented into that, is the hype, and of course we touch also on that topic. And it was very interesting because basically there was a wide majority, almost 80%, that is really focused on transaction monitoring. There is where they see the biggest potentiality, and I think it's quite clear there, because what is the benefit of AI? Benefit of AI is in the prediction analysis, and therefore where you can limit the risk is to start to predict better your transaction, your fraud, the exposure to transaction, and therefore how that can be tackled and how can be mitigated towards a better predictive analysis that AI can do. And actually it was interesting because it was absolutely confirmed we did the same poll during the intervention today, and indeed transaction monitoring was picked as the key topic. So indeed, there is where probably the market is seeing it as key point for implementing their controls. There are other potential. I mean, for sure, screening systems, screening against sanctions, for instance, there you can reduce a lot the false positive, and so helping the analysts to focus more on the quality side of the review, and at the same time also customer due diligence. On that side, it can help to, for instance, digest big volume of analysis. You know, when you do complex products like in Luxembourg, such as securitization funds, and you have maybe to review 600 plus pages. I mean, if done by, we did some proof of concept where these 600 and plus pages were read in 1 hour by the machine. So with, you come out with analysis, and then you can really focus on what are the risks that you need to focus. And that's where it can give a great added value, AI.
Yeah, I think in order to reduce the false positive, you need to you need to train the system, the AI system, and you also need to train yourself on using AI. Of course, at the beginning, you will have a large amount of positive, and then keep training, and you will see that the positive will go down. To detection of the suspicious transaction. Yeah, you need to training the system, and of course you need a cybersecurity professional. Of course, you mentioned the back test. These are the traditional way to test, but in this case, as is a new kind of risk, we don't know too much about that. And so in this case, I would say also to go with a simple risk assessment, and then to compare the residual risk with the risk appetite of the organization. But it's important to keep training the system, because it's a machine learning system. So if you teach the system can produce better result.
Okay. And let me put it this way, right? We talked about this false positive. What about, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? Are false positive, you would say, on the same line of risk as hallucinations that so-called AIs are yielding over, right? Yielding this erroneous output. Once you create the algorithm, you create the AI tool, it can kind of, generate what is so-called hallucinations, incorrect output out of the tool.
So on that side, and we go a bit on the limitation of AI currently. I mean, everything goes depending on the data that you input. Data quality is the essence to train the system. If you don't have the right data, is very simple: rubbish in, rubbish out. And that goes together with AI. I mean, if you don't train the algorithm, then of course it will not predict correctly. That's where actually we see the biggest limitation, because we sounded the market again also on that point, and the two biggest limitations were data quality and maturity of the system. Maturity of the system is clear. I mean, most of the big corporates lives on systems that were created via legacy, and implementing AI requires probably first an enhancement of their system before moving towards the AI, and then to ensure that they will be fed with the right data, because otherwise you can implement the best Ferrari, but if you don't put the right fuel in, it will not work.
Yeah, let me add something about the data quality, because of course AI, it's a powerful assistant, it's a powerful tool, but it needs to be powered by something in order to be effective. In this case, it's right to talk about data quality, and during the session we asked the audience what makes AI more efficient between data quality, human skills, privacy, ethics, and coexistence with existing system. And the results were very interesting. They said human skill and data quality. So confirming what Alessandro was saying before.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
If I can complement on that, I think was the greatest outcome of all the conversation we had here during these 2 days, also in the strategy 2035, and also of the result of the PwC survey, the sense that the human making the connection between the machine, the regulation, and the results. So the human factor is essential for the transition. So really what was required by the market to support the technological transition to better controls is the human factor. Without human that is able to understand the financial crime itself and make it transform into machine, that will never provide then right output at the end.
And I would also like to add something, because I know that lots of auditors are listening, and the odd question was also to ask if AI will replace auditors. And of course, lots of people say that yes, AI will partially replace auditor, but we showed a statement of a professor, Richard Baldwin, which says that it's not AI that is going to take your job, but someone who know how to use AI might. So this is very important, because the human factor behind, it's the human skills that make you unique to your organization, and it's the human touch that builds real connection and drive the real changes.
Okay. So would you argue then that the skill of internal auditors to basically acquire is the prompting this kind of tools? That's what would differentiate them in the future?
Yes, they need to know how to use AI, and of course, someone has to audit AI system. So we need human to audit AI system, and also nobody, no technology can communicate as an auditor can communicate to senior management and the board of directors.
And this is probably one of the key also loopholes in this moment. Most of the AI tools now that you buy are black box box algorithm. So that's very difficult to assess what there is behind and to understand what there is behind. So that's require, let's say, specific upskilling on that sense to ensure that the transition is achieving the right output to have better anti-financial crime controls.
And for much of this information that there is about auditing AI, like Antonio mentioned, Alessandro, the problem with the black box, there's some good materials from the IIA with the IIA Artificial Intelligence Knowledge Center. There are a couple of founding documents and frameworks there that can be leveraged by any internal audit function or any starting auditor or any senior or director of audit, that they can begin building that kind of skill set into the talent of the function. As we are currently in the IIA's international conference, right? I also attended one of the conferences that talked about, AI, data analytics. And going back to the comment that Alessandro was making earlier about the 600 pages being discovered by this artificial intelligence, here's where my curiosity goes, because one of the speakers said, probably we're going to get, as internal auditors, right, when we sample, that's going to sound like a foreign word maybe in the future, because we are going to be able to kind of look at 100% of the universe of our transactions when we do an audit, instead of just sampling X percentage of the transactions. What would be your take on that? Are we there yet, or are we like 10 years from now?
Well, in my opinion, not 10 years, because we are very close to it, I believe. Of course, having 100% of the population, it's very difficult, because it's against the statistic rules. I mean, we always need a little margin of error. We can expand our sample, we can be very close to the population, we can reduce the margin of error, but I think it will be very hard to analyze the 100% of the population. Then it depends of the population you are analyzing, of course. If you have a small sample, a small population, of course, can be possible. But I think in order to have an effective result, you always need a small margin of error.
We talk about black box, hallucinations, the false positive at the beginning. Any other concept that you think that we can bring as part of this to enrich this podcast?
Yes, especially for auditors, I believe that, as I said before, AI, it's a very powerful tool, but please avoid a false sense of security, because auditors can overestimate the power of the AI, and they may end up having a false sense of security. So my advice is to always adopt a risk-based approach.
Okay. And this is pretty much in alignment, Antonio and Alessandro, with Vision 2035, right? One of the results of our survey as an institution, right? The vision of the profession, it's the enhancement of the behavioral or the so-called soft skills of the internal auditor. This is one where critical thinking might be one, right? Having this false sense of security that you just mentioned. Auditors need to remain a little bit, vigilant about the output of these tools. They are tools, right? They're not going to substitute. But I think this is where basically, right, soft skills like critical thinking is going to help the internal audit profession kind of distinguish itself, not fully relying on the artificial intelligence tools. In terms of the skill set of the future, right? We're talking about Vision 2035.
Okay.
Yeah. So I see you have a multidisciplinary approach. So you would say, Antonio, you study accounting. You're the accounting background, internal audit controls. You had more of the economics, diplomacy background, languages on both sides, right? Multilingual professional. So
yeah, I think on that side, we said, to transit to technology, you need person that require also the understanding of technology. So indeed, multidisciplinary is something that should be kind of keyword for the talent of the future. I do agree with that. And there you need to be able to understand everything. So not only the technology, but so you don't need to forget the governance part, so the regulatory part, and also the business part. So you need to be able to connect the three and speak the three of them, which is very complex, mainly when you also go in niche, maybe like is Luxembourg market somehow, because we have type of niche, very complex financial products, and there you need to be able to understand the financial complexity of the products that is not straightforward, see how this is applicable on anti-financial crime perspective, which are applied also on a regulatory perspective, because regulation mainly are always written always on more general perspective. And so when you go in niche market, you need to understand how, let's say, you can detail for that, and then transform it in a technological solution, basically. So how this can really enhance my control. So you really need to extend the type of knowledge that talents have to be to come in, and that's where probably upskilling is something that is very much required on every level to ensure that the transition is performed.
Yeah, and the other risk could be that now young generation could rely just on AI without developing human skill, without developing their skill. So I think it's very important before using AI to develop personal skill as internal auditor, and then you can use AI, because if you don't know what you are looking for, if you don't know how to drive it, you cannot use AI properly. So please keep studying, keep training yourself. And in my case, for example, well, we are young, but it's another generation. We studied a lot before using AI, and it's very important because you have your vision and then you try to adapt the vision to the new vision and to the new approach.
Antonio, Alessandro, thanks a lot for your contribution to the internal audit profession. We would really like to thank you. Grazie mille.
Grazie. Thank you so much, Ricardo.
Thank you, Ricardo, for the invitation. Our pleasure.
Enjoying the episode? Hear more from today's guests, Antonio and Alessandro, as featured speakers at the IIA's 2025 Fraud Virtual Conference, happening on February 20th. This is your chance to explore the latest in fraud prevention and detection, guided by industry experts, all from wherever you are. Visit theiia.org or check the show notes to register today and secure your spot. You won't want to miss it. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and rate us. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also catch other episodes on our YouTube channel at theiia.org. That's THEIIA.org.